Booger, I love your point about Ben Roethlisberger changing his game. He did change his game. His release was one of the fastest out of all quarterbacks last year, so he understands he's not the Big Ben of old. I remember playing the Big Ben of old back in 2011. It was my first sack of my NFL career. People put it in quotes because I slid down his leg, but I'm not going to lie. They blew the whistle. They counted it as a sack, but this dude is an animal. They're showing the clip. It's me, number 94. They blew the whistle. They counted it as a sack. I'm taking it all day, every day of the week. That ends in Y. But he's a freaking specimen. He's huge. He's large. He's called Big Ben for a reason. He knows how to maneuver his body and stay up. Now, granted, this was 10 long years ago, but he's still playing at a phenomenal level.
Yes.
And that's your boy, Sacho, first sack of his NFL career.
Can I challenge that call?
Get off me.
Do I have like a red challenge flag?
No. The statute of limitations, Greeny, the statute of limitations is over.
Greeny.
There's no challenging.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Sacho is new to get up, but he's already mastered the Dan Orlovsky self-promotion thing already. Great job, Sacho, promoting yourself. I don't even know if that was a sack, but you are learning fast in TV world. Self-promote, because if you don't promote yourself like Dan Orlovsky, nobody else will. Great job.
Let me say this, too. On the stat sheet, that goes down as a sack. I think it should go down as a missed tackle.
I got some better sacks than that. Show those tapes. Show the clip, Greeny. Show the clip.
We're gonna have to try and find some. That one. So far, I'm looking for a red flag because I'm challenging the call. All right, as we continue, coming up, was Aaron Rodgers throwing shade at the Packers with his tweet yesterday? You got to see it.
Team, etc. But I just wonder, like, how much would he pay if he were to actually go and buy a Super Bowl? Mind you, it's been 25 years since the Cowboys have won. So he was about 54 years old. The time clock is ticking. And yes, the offense is Super Bowl ready, but let's not forget, Kansas City is still there. Let's not forget, Tampa Bay, they're still the champs. And so even though I believe that Dak is ready and that offense is ready, there are some major hurdles that this team is going to have to overcome if they want to win a Super Bowl.
Sacho, I think that they might as well rename the salary cap the Jerry Jones limit, because he would spend $1 billion if he could to try and win a Super Bowl. I think we all know that. That said, Booger, is his team close to doing it? Is this Cowboys team? I got people up here every single day. You see it. I got everybody up here telling me they're the best team in the division. The defense is going to be so much better. The offense could be the best in the league. Bill Barnwell's telling me they have the second best weapons of any team in the NFL. Is this team close to doing it for him?
No, Greedy, and I think people are using a lot of what ifs. People are saying, what if the offensive line stays healthy? Well, guess what? 3 of those 5 offensive linemen haven't been healthy in a while. Well, what if Dan Quinn comes in and the defense is at least middle of the pack? Well, guess what? Dan Quinn, last time I checked, he doesn't play. And the guys that are going to be on that field, some of them are going to be guys that were there. They're bringing in some new guys, which are going to be young rookies. So can Dan Quinn take some of the same guys and make them a better defense? I don't know, Greeny. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to be really fun. It's going to be a great story. We're going to get up with it every day of the week. But in the end, I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are the best team in their division, let alone the best team in the NFC.
Ooh.
There you go. We were going to come back to that a little later.
This morning.
We will pick the NFC East a little bit later in this program, but I mentioned the Cowboys are one of 2 teams on the practice field today. Their upcoming Hall of Fame game opponents, the Pittsburgh Steelers, are the other. Working out today for the first time with Ben Roethlisberger entering season number 18. Big Ben showing up to camp yesterday in a shirt, you see it there, that says different on it. And so many people are writing off this Pittsburgh Steelers team. Sam Acho, are you?
Not at all. I'm very high on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and here's why. Last year, they had the number 3 rated defense in points allowed, and they haven't gotten worse. They've only gotten better. Also, look at the names I'm going to name, right? T.J. Watt could have been Defensive Player of the Year. People have argued for that. You look at Devin Bush, who's a phenomenal inside linebacker. Cameron Hayward, probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. And then you've got Big Ben. And yes, I understand the knock on Pittsburgh is their offensive line. They were last in rushing yards, last in rushing attempts, and last in yards per attempt. But they also went and drafted the best player who was on Alabama last year, Najee Harris. Yes, I understand he didn't win the Heisman, but he was the best player on that team. They went and drafted him, and so they're addressing their inefficiencies. They're addressing their points of weakness. And they were also 11-0 last year to lead off the season. And so anyone who's riding off the Steelers, I think, is a little bit early for that write-off.
Yeah, well, so Booger, what are they closer to? Are they closer to the team that was 11-0 or the team that only won one more game the rest of the way after that?
Greeny, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're closer to the team that was 11-0 because I think the offensive line can't be any worse. You know, they got mad at me last year in Pittsburgh when I called the offensive line soft, but if you turn the tape on, the offensive line was soft. And Greeny, you and I were at the NFL draft, and you know the one thing that puzzled me is I said, okay, they're going to fix the offensive line by taking a running back. To me, that just threw my mind for a loop. I do think they can't be any worse. I do think that Big Ben is going to recognize he's not the Big Ben of old, a guy that can drop back and just shake off defenders and allow those deeper routes to go down. He's going to have to figure out a way to play the game similar to a Tom Brady or someone like that in rhythm and timing. And that's something he's never done. I agree with Sacho about the defense. Mike Tomlin is one of the most underrated coaches that we've ever had in professional sports. He doesn't get his flowers. He's phenomenal. I do think he will figure out a way to have that defense, barring the health withstanding, that defense will play well. And I think in the end, Pittsburgh will be a better team. So to answer your question in a long-about way, they are closer to 11-0 than they are to the team that we saw at the end of the postseason.
Kmart, you were there for their playoff game last year. Will they have one this year? Is this team going to the playoffs?
Greeny, you can make a case that they just miss out on the playoffs. I'm not as high on giving the Steelers the benefit of the doubt as maybe Booger or Sam are, only because I watched it last year. I listened to Mike Tomlin, who's a phenomenal coach, but looking around the end of the season, like, what is happening? We are playing like a JV team. Those were his words. So when you look at this team, Big Ben, yes, you know, you could give him all the accolades, but what we saw, we don't know what Big Ben is going to be. Talk about what ifs with the Cowboys. We don't know how Big Ben is going to play this year. And out of all the teams in the AFC, everybody else got better. You know, that division, you know, if the Steelers win 9 games, they could still miss the cut. You've got at least 6 AFC teams that could go to the 7 AFC teams ahead of them that could go to the playoffs. So I don't know. There are a lot of questions in Pittsburgh, starting with that offense.